Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. And, well, not really Scarlet and Violet anymore, because today we're doing something a little bit different. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to go over my top 10 favourite Pokemon. So, I've been thinking about doing this for a while now. However, I've just never really figured out what my favourite Pokemon actually were. However, after a few months of thinking, I've finally come to a decision of what my favourite Pokemon are. And so yeah, without any further ado, let's get on with the video. Also, at the moment it's just like background footage. I'm not actually playing. But so yeah. So coming in at number 10 is a Pokemon that I used during my Nuzlocke, and it was Frigoraph. So Frigoraph is a Pokemon, from Generation 9, and I always wanted Girafarig to get an evolution. Like, Girafarig was definitely a Pokemon that deserved it, ever since they started adding new evolutions in Generation 4, with like Electivire and Magmortar. And so Frigoraph, well, it didn't really do much in the Nuzlocke. However, I just really liked using it. It was just a different. It felt different. So yeah, and that's a reason why I like Frigoraph as number 10 on my list. So now we're gonna head into number 9. So coming in at number 9 will be Arcanine. So Arcanine is a Pokemon from Generation 1. Fire-type is, so yeah, if you don't know what Arcanine is, which I hope you do, because so the reason why I like the thing so much, because it looks so majestic, and also one of my favourite pets are dogs. Not only that, but I do like the fire type, but it's definitely not my top 6. However, all the time, every time I go through Generation 1, because when I go through Generation 1, I don't pick the 5-star, I don't pick Charmander, I go for Bulbasaur, because I like Bulbasaur more. However, so in a replacement for the fire type, I always go for Arcanine. Arcanine is and Arcanine was just an asset to every team I used. Not only that, but in Pokemon. So coming in at number 8 on my list is Yveltal. Yveltal is a Pokemon for Generation 6, and has been in every generation until Generation 9, where it's not in. Well, it could be in the future. I'm recording this before any DLCs were revealed, if there are any. And so Yveltal. The reason why I like Yveltal so much, not only do I really like its color scheme being red and black. Well, not my favorite color scheme, of course. My favourite colour scheme is blue and black, because, not only if I try and call the Blue Ball 88, but, but let's carry on to why I actually like it. So Yveltal has always been a Pokemon that I never knew why I liked it so much. Which goes for a lot of Pokemon, but not every Pokemon on my list is just random. However, so I did go for Pokemon Y, so that could be the reason why I like Yveltal. But also, I like it shiny. Well, that's always a good thing. However, I never got it because, I actually never completed the Pokedex until Generation 8, when I completed it for the videos. Pokemon Sword and Shield, but, Raids and Sword and Shield. However, so yeah, back on. So, yeah, Yveltal. So yeah, that's number 8 on the list, and now we're heading in to number 7. So number 7 on my list goes to Deoxys. Deoxys was a Pokemon from Generation 3, and you can never get it in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, but you could get it in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire through the post game. And one of my favourite post games in the in Pokemon is the Delta episode in Oras. So, not only because I just really like Deoxys, but it's also because I do sometimes just listen to the music when I'm doing the boss fights and stuff, like the really important ones. And Deoxys boss fight music is just so good. Like, every time I listen to it, it just gives me goosebumps. And another thing is that we just in the little is it really called boss fight? Well, it probably is called boss fight. However, we could at the moment we could just call it a boss. Well, yeah, it is boss fight. But so yeah, Deoxys. Is there anything? Also, when I used to watch like the show and stuff, one of my favorite Pokemon movies was the one with Deoxys in it. I forgot what it was called though. I think it's like Destiny Deoxys or something like that. So yeah. That's number 7 on my list. And now we're going in to number 6. So coming in at number 6 on my list is a Generation 3 Pokemon from it's a water ground type. And of course, what I must be talking about Swampert. Swampert was my first ever starter in any Pokemon game, and Swampert was the Pokemon that probably, well, it used to be my favorite Pokemon. However, now it's been bumped down to 6 because there's some other Pokemon that I saw, and not only that, but water ground type is an amazing type. It's only quad weak to grass type moves, which you can probably normally do. If you have the right moves, you can probably take it down easily with an ice type, with like Ice Beam or something like that. I think it can learn Sludge Bomb as well, but most grass types are poison type. But also in return, it's immune to electric because of it, since it's ground type. The only other move that you should be worrying about as a Swampert is Freeze Dry, which is an ice type move, which is super effective against water types. Even if normal ice is not super effective against water, I think it's actually not very effective against water. But yeah, that's the reason why I like Swampert, and we're going to go ahead into number 5. So coming in at number 5 on my list is a Pokemon from Generation 5. This Pokemon is a Pokemon that I actually never really knew why I liked it so much. It's basically the same thing with Yveltal as well. And so basically, the town I'm in at the moment is probably going to give you a hint on what Pokemon it could be. And the thing is, in real life, I'm really afraid of spiders. If I saw a spider in my room, I would freak out. Of course, I would have to get rid of it in the end, but so yeah, so the Pokemon Galvantula was my main electric type for my first ever playthrough of Pokemon Black and White. And it was just an amazing Pokemon all around. What I normally would do with it would be just set up with mainly on the main fights, I would set up with Galvantula's Sticky Web, and then use some physicals. Well, then I would Thunderbolt everything, and then of course it would have to be switched out because they're dead, and then they would be led into my Sticky Web, which would slow them down, making it easy for kill. Unless it's a ground type, then of course it won't be. But the thing is, one of the only ground types in Black and White was Crocodile. And that thing is a dark type, and Bug is good against dark. So yeah, then that was number 5 on my list. Now let's go to number 4. So coming in at number 4 on my list is Eevee. So Eevee was, of course, is always known to be like Pokemon's second mascot, because how much it's always been compared to Pikachu. And Eevee is also the name of my dog, so of course why wouldn't. I also went for Let's Go Eevee, you know, had a lot of fun with that. Even if Let's Go Eevee isn't really my favourite game, because, well, it isn't. My favourite game, of course, is, well, if you really, it's just any Generation 3 game. Probably Pokemon Emerald, though. And, so Eevee, is a Pokemon. Oh yeah, it's from Generation 1, of course, and it can evolve into other Pokemon like Sylveon or Leafeon, right? And, Eevee is just a cute, adorable little dog thing. Actually, I think it's based on a fennec fox, actually, but, so yeah. And then that's number 4 on my list, and we're going now to my top 3 favourite Pokemon of all time. So coming in at number 3 on our list is a Pokemon from Generation 6, and it's a rock dragon, and it's Tyrantrum. So Tyrantrum was one of my biggest assets during my Sword and Shield Wonderlock, and not only that, but I did like it before I actually used it. Yeah, before I used it in my Wonderlock, and because I used it a ton every time I played through Generation 6 or 7. Because of course in Generation 7, if you play through Sun, you can get Tyrant. The Moon exclusive, because yeah, Tyrant's a Sun exclusive Pokemon, and then in Moon it was Aurora, which is like the little Brachiosaurus dude. Not only that, but my favourite movie growing up was Jurassic Park. You know, Jurassic Park trilogy. So, and Jurassic World as well. And also one of my other favourite games, other than Pokemon, is Ark Survival Evolved. You may have thought the series I did, my first ever proper video on YouTube, being a playthrough through Ark's Crystal Isles, which I stopped doing because for some reason it wasn't letting me record on my PS4. But now we got PC, and I of course have PC Arc. And so, not only that, but is there anything else to really say about Tyrantrum? No, not really. So, yeah, that's all for number 3 on the list. Now, to the final 2. So, coming into number 2 on the list is a Pokemon I used in my Scarlet and Violet Nuzlocke. However, it died during the Elite Four. That, of course, being Garchomp. Garchomp is a Pokemon from Generation 4, Ground Dragon, and I've always loved Garchomp. One of my favourite creatures on this planet is sharks. The reason why I said creatures, of course, because sharks are not animals; they're fish. And so I'm not also that, but I did use Garchomp in every playthrough I could get him in. Well, excluding Ultra Sun, because it was like excruciating hard to get him. What you had to do in the Sun is you have to encounter a Sandile whilst in Sandstorm, and then SOS encounter to get a bite, and then evolve him into a Garchomp. But in Generation 4, 6, not 8 because he came in Crown Tundra DLC, but and on Gen 9 I've always used him, and again he was just always a big asset of the team. Probably because he's pseudo legendary, of course, but also his typing's really good. His only weaknesses are Ice, Dragon, and Fairy. All the ground type weaknesses are excluded except for Ice, of course, but you could always deal with Ice with flip fire type moves, especially if they choose like Ice Steel, or which I don't even think is a type in Pokemon yet. Is it a type? Or Ice Grass, like a Bomber Snow. So yeah, that's the reason why I like Garchomp. And so time for my favourite Pokemon of all time. So, my favourite Pokemon of all time is a Pokemon from Generation 3. Of course. And not only that, but it's a water type. but also it's a dark type. But there's 2 Pokemon in Generation 3 that's water dark type. However, then I should say which one it is, and that being Sharpedo. Sharpedo is a Pokemon from Generation, of course, 3, and it's basically got the same reasoning as why I like Garchomp so much. It's a shark, and that. But I really loved it in Generation 8 how it always just came after you with just anger all over him, and always just tried to attack you. Also, it was one of the shinies I caught in Sword and Shield, and that was fun because, of course, it's my favorite Pokemon. And every time I could get a Sharpedo, I did. The games you could get them in is, I believe, Generation 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. And not only that, but Sharpedo can. Well, I don't think Sharpedo is any good in competitive. Like, of course, it's normally a Pokemon which I normally categorize in as outspeed or die sort of Pokemon. However, sometimes I have seen people try set up with Sharpedo with, like, I believe Sword Dance it can learn. And so also, before we end the video, I'm gonna go for a few honourable mentions. Those honourable mentions are, so the honourable mentions of this top 10 are Venusaur, Runerigus, Zekrom, Boltund, Suicune, and Darkspun, however you say it. So I'll go over each in the Venusaur. No, is my favourite starter from Generation 1. Probably my second favourite starter of all time, to be honest. Well, because it is. And so Venusaur not only was an asset in every playthrough I could get him in. So Generation 1, 6, and so 1 and 6, because, well, without having to trade, of course. Well, or transfer between different games, because in Generation 6 you can get him from Professor Sycamore's lab. And actually, now thinking about it, you can also get one in Generation 3 after you complete the post game with Oras. You can get, like, different starter Pokemon. However, so yeah. And then Darkspun, if, of course, if I were to quickly go to my death box, so as you see I'm doing it right now on my nice little clip writer, we have, so yeah, he died during the Nuzlocke. However, he died valiantly. He died during the Dragon Titan fight, and because I got critted. And then also, so 2 Pokemon which have the same reasoning is Boltund and Zekrom. And you probably, if you can tell by my name on my channel, you probably know why I like it. They are literally blue bolts. Well, Zekrom is definitely one. However, I think Boltund is more kind of considered a yellow bolt. Well, a yellow bolt user, but have bolt in the name, so so yeah. Also, I really like Zekrom. I went for white version, which is the one with Zekrom in it, and then of course black version. Black 2 went, because that, for some reason they switched it up a little bit. No idea why. Maybe they just want. Well, I'm thinking about it. Kyurem is, actually no, Kyurem's grey, isn't it? So then the other 2 Pokemon, Suicune and Runerigus. So Suicune, of course, was my starter in the Nuzlocke, and it went through all the way. However, he died during the final Pokemon, being the Clamora, because I just had, there was nothing I could do. I had to sacrifice it, of course, but so And then also Runerigus was, so on my main account for Shield, I used one, and it was very fun. The only problem the reason why I probably wasn't in my top 10 is because of how annoying it is to actually get. Because what you got to do is you have to get a have to get it under I believe like 1/4 of its HP, and then go under this specific rock in the wild area, and then you would get yourself the Runerigus, which I've always thought was just so weird and just odd. However, so yeah, that's all I have for this video. If you like this video and want me to do other top 10s, like maybe my top 10 favorite game, well, top 5 probably favorite Pokemon games, and then maybe like my top 5 least favorite Pokemon, then you should consider leaving this, putting a like on this video. It really helps out. So I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.